Hey, and we're back. Season 3, Episode 1, Fairway Conversations. Gabriel, what's going on, my man? How you doing?
I'm so good. How are you, father of mine?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. 2025, starting a new season of the podcast. I'm very, very excited. Let's kind of jump into a couple things. Let's wrap up 2024. I know that we had like a lot of friends and a lot of family, at least I could say 10, 15 people were like, hey, when's the next episode coming out? When are you guys going to be ready to go again? But it was that little thing of when we were wrapping up 2024, we got through all of the summer season and everything else. I think part of it was maybe just a little bit of burnout, mentally. We were focused in. You were playing some competitive rounds. I was playing competitive rounds. That led to vacation. I was on vacation. You had some traveling and stuff that you were doing, especially with work at that time. Yeah. And so it just really got kind of busy, right?
Yeah.
There's been a couple of adjustments and new focuses that have happened. I wouldn't even say adjustments, but new focuses that have happened. And so we're excited about 2025. You and I kind of laid out the plan. Right now I think we're going to try to release one episode a month. So that'll give us at least 12 episodes kind of coming in, starting here. And then when we get to the summer months, maybe 3 or 4 of them, we'll try to double it up and we'll try to get 2 more. So that'll give us about 12 to 16 episodes that we're going to put out for the season. Still going to be on that same format of about 45 minutes or so and kind of going from there. But how's that sound to you?
Yeah, it sounds good. You just hit the nail on the head. It was a mixture of things. It was, work, it was travel, it was seeing family, it was a little bit of burnout, which will kind of lead us into what we're going to talk about today. Some different things that I'm doing, some things that you're doing, and what we're going to do in 2025. But that's, the reason why we kind of slowed down or altogether just didn't do it. Just a mixture of everything. Life happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it helps you kind of refocus, helps you get a little bit of a, invigorates you to get back into it. So I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm really, really excited myself. But let's start with you, Gabriel. What's new for you? Like, what is it that you're working on in your new focus?
Yeah. So one of the things that we just talked about, burnout. I wasn't burnt out on golf per se. I was just maybe my lifestyle just didn't feel, it was good. It was bad. At the time I was doing Pilates, I was golfing, and I was working, and it just kind of got monotonous. And there wasn't a lot of variation. It wasn't, all together. So what I did it was actually Labor Day weekend. My mom and Ryan, my stepdad, came out to visit me. And for some reason, I just wanted to go on a run. And I went on a run. It was 3 miles. And I was like, man, I felt really good. I was tired. My body was sore the next day, but I was like, man, this feels pretty good. And I just started running a little bit more. And I was on Instagram and something popped up on my page and it was called High Rocks. And I was like, that sounds so familiar. So I click the link, I see what it is. And I'm like, wait, I was like, your cousin, our family member, Robbie Jacobo, he's done these things before. So I look into it a little bit more and I was like, man, I want to do that. So I sign up for High Rocks Dallas. And that's kind of how I got started down this route. So this is kind of how what happened is I was feeling a little bit monotonous with my lifestyle and I wanted to change it up. So High Rocks, I'm going to explain the event to you. Yeah. This is the way it works. So it's a 1 kilometer run followed by a 1 kilometer ski erg, those ski machines where you have the handles. So you do an 8K, you do 8 kilometers of running, and in between each kilometer of running, there's a fitness station. So it's a ski erg, it's a sled push, sled pull, burpee broad jumps, rowing machine, farmer carries, weighted sandbag lunges, and you finish it off with 100 wall balls. So it's a big race. And one of the things when I was looking into it is I was trying to write my own program and I was trying to put all these things together and I was overwhelmed. And one of the things that I read from a lot of people is they hurt themselves because they get themselves too much volume or they don't know how to program. So I went to this guy, his name's Austin Main. Shout out Austin. I'm hoping we can get him here on the podcast. I think he'd be a great guest.
Awesome.
Austin Main, I met him out in Weatherford when I was in college. He had a gym out there just west of Weatherford and Clinton. And basically I was like, hey man, like I need help. Can you write me a program and a nutrition plan? And he was all aboard, and he really simplified it for me to where we talked about what I wanted to do, what the race was going to look like. He put together everything from my nutrition on a daily basis to a training plan that involved running, lifting, hit workouts, high rock specific workouts. And that was in, I want to say, late September, early October ish.
Mm-hmm.
And fast forward to what are we, about 4 months later?
Yeah.
Man, my life has completely changed for the better. Number one, it was hard early on. My body was sore all the time, and my everything was just like all out of whack because I'd never done that before.
Yeah.
But once I started doing this lifestyle, I noticed not just subjective changes to where, I feel better. I've noticed on my Whoop that things have gotten better. Like my HRV has climbed up a ton.
Yeah.
I've really focused on my sleep a lot more, and I'll get into that a little bit more, but that's kind of how I got into this spot where I am right now.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And you have a competition that's coming up,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
And you're flying to Vegas. I'm going to meet you over there, so I'm excited with that coming up at the first weekend into February.
Yep.
How are you feeling about your competition? I know you had one in Dallas and it was a team competition. Well, let's talk about that one first. How
Mm-hmm.
did that? How were the results of that one?
So I actually did it with my buddy Isaiah, who I played baseball with at SWASU.
Mm-hmm.
And he had just done an Ironman, a full Ironman in Arizona, like 6 days before that. And he was willing to come in there and do what they call a doubles, men's doubles.
Yeah.
So you do the runs are all the same, still 8 kilometers total, but you can split the workload of the fitness stations however you see fit. So we went in there, we did it. We finished in an hour and 6 minutes and some change, which is, pretty good. And one thing I took away from that was that I was getting better fitness wise. It'd only been about 6 weeks that I've been training,
Yeah.
but I was not where I needed to be yet. My running, shape wasn't quite there, but it gave me a lot to learn from. And I gave the feedback to Austin. He incorporated some things into the program. Like I sucked at burpee broad jumps. We needed to work on a few things like the rowing machine. I needed to learn how to use my legs a little bit more and create more power. So a lot of different things that I learned from that. So it was a great experience
Yeah.
doing
Those
that.
those those burpee broad jumps would be my nemesis out of
They,
everything.
yeah, yeah, they blow
We'll
people up. Yeah.
we'll get into a little bit more of. I have some fitness goals myself here,
Hmm.
and um, yeah, the burpee broad jumps are, well, not the broad jump portion of it, but they've got like a burpee weight lift deal that's a part of the program I'm following.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I can't do them.
Yeah.
It's like even when they come up, I'm just like, I'll do push-ups,
Right.
you
Right.
know,
Yeah. You,
for the time, because it's
yeah.
tough. Those are hard, man. I think that's the
Yeah.
hardest part of that of it. Obviously I haven't competed in it, but
Hmm.
when I look at the workouts that are on in between the running, that to me seems like it's the hardest part for me.
Well, and that brings up a good point because for me, I've always hated burpees, and after that race, I realized that I hated them even more, and I was like, okay, there's two routes of coaching that you can go. You can do both, but you can choose to just get better at your strengths and
Mm-hmm.
ignore your weaknesses, or kind of get better, or you can just kind of get better at your weaknesses. Burpee broad jumps was such a weakness for me that I had to get better. I
Yeah.
told Awesome, like, dude, we got to program these in. So I mean, we hammered him, man. Like I burpee broad
Oh
jumping.
man.
I'm not always broad jumping. Sometimes it's just burpees and stand up. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's burpees with a hop, and sometimes it's burpees and you jump to a 6-inch target. But we hammered him in, and I feel so much more confident in them because I'm building a really good like endurance base, and your heart gets stronger, all these things. But also when you practice these movements often, it really makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And confidence in knowing that I can fall back on my training a little bit instead of just being like, oh, I don't know how this is gonna go because I don't practice because I was afraid of it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh yeah, for
So
sure. For sure.
but yeah, no, that was a great event in Dallas. Shout out Isaiah Martinez for doing that with me 6 days after he did a full Ironman. So I've got that on February 2nd. I've also got a High Rocks event in Houston on March 15th, which
Nice.
is that I can drive down to Houston and do that. So it's about a 6 to 8 hour drive. I want to say 8 hours. And then I actually just signed up for something for New York City
Whoa.
in May, on May 30th. So I'm really looking forward to that. Robbie, I've seen some pictures and everything about that. It looks incredible. So I'm really
Mm.
looking forward to that. So I've got 3 races on the calendar right now. And overall, man, what I really have taken away from kind of switching from the Pilates to kind of lifting and golfing lifestyle in the interim was something that has really changed because my sleep's better. I go to the sauna all the time, and that really helps with my recovery. I've been reading a lot in not like self-help books, but I've really like kind of gotten into the fiction stuff.
Yeah.
It's really been nice to kind of like let your brain turn off and get to something else, like just kind of get away from reality and not be like, oh, self-help. This is your 11 hacks to increase your productivity. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
I just, that stuff kind of, it wears on you. And in our hustle culture now, I think it takes you away from what's important. And it just kind of, I don't know, it just wore me out and I was over it. And
You
then,
know, sorry to cut you off there real quick.
Mhm.
Talking about those books, like you were, I definitely agree with you. Like I'm looking up at some of the books that I've got on my shelf, and they all seem to be more along the lines of that self-help. And I told Sonia, your stepmom, I told her like I wanted to go and read like 6 books. That was, if you really want to kind of call it a New Year's resolution, like I listened to a lot of books, right?
Mhm.
But I really wanted to sit down and read 6 books, but I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to read. But I told her, like I have the Phil Jackson book, and I've got, some spiritual books on, having more of along the lines of a Buddhist type of mentality, and just and then
Mhm.
the Kobe books, and it's like the Mamba mentality, and like just trying to gain knowledge from all of these different people and different parts of life,
Right.
and understanding all those things. And kind of like you, like I went and I haven't picked one up yet because I have to make the decision, but yeah, I want to go to get away from that this year a
Mhm.
little bit, and I want to read 6 different types of books. And I love listening to Nelson DeMille books, and there's a particular series that I really, really love, and I have them all on my phone so that like when I'm out there, and kind of golf related, when I'm out there and I'm practicing and I'm at the driving range, I usually put a book on in my headphones as I'm practicing because it helps me to relax. But
Mhm.
I want something along those lines, but figure that out. And but yeah, that's my goal, is 4 to 6 books that I read.
Well, I just gave you you just talked yourself into what I've been doing. What you listen to the books on the range before you're golfing to do what?
To help me relax.
So that's exactly what I've been doing before bed.
Hmm.
I'm not on my phone as much, and I'm not perfect. You know, sometimes I'll watch a YouTube video and, but for the most part, 4 to 5 days out of the week, I'm laying in bed. I haven't been on my phone in about an hour and I'm reading my book and it relaxes me
Yeah.
and it puts me into a really good, like I'm falling asleep state. I've noticed that I don't wake up as often in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? Like it's just, my sleep just has gotten so much better. So I would encourage you to, I got a Kindle and it's hard with the reading light to like switch the pages and move it around. So the Kindle has been awesome. It's been
Okay.
a really good tool, and you can mess with the brightness and warmth and all that. So it's been really good. But kind of rounding out different changes with me, I think the most important thing that I wanted to also touch on was like my faith, and how I've been really reading the Bible a lot more. I've been a part of an online group, and it's just really helped me, and it's really changed how I attack the day, how I end the day, and I'm just really thankful that I found that, and I've gotten a lot stronger in that, and then I continue to build on that base. So it's just something that I really wanted to touch on there for a second. So I'm really proud of that, and I'm really happy with where that's gone so far.
Good, good. Yeah, I'm proud of you for that as well. So, um,
But hey, what about you? What's going on with you and fitness and everything's outside of golf right now?
So, you know me, I always work out, do some sort of workout a couple of days a week. And I want to maintain that. So I'm still working out. It's 4 to 5 days a week is what my goal is. But I do have I've tried some different workouts. A lot of people don't know I went to school for kinesiology. So it's, that body movement, the fitness, all of those things a long time ago. Still recognize, still understand everything that's happening, especially with like all the new stuff that comes in.
Right.
But I don't always adhere to it. Obviously, you can see me. I don't adhere to it, right? But I still love working out. I love the way I feel after I work out. Um, but I found myself being in a routine of a comfortable workout that was always kind of the same lifts, even though I varied the weights and I might have varied the reps and maybe made a couple of different adjustments, but it was always kind of the same routine, same routine, same routine. So, when I see myself and I, kind of feel my muscles or whatever you want to call it, like I definitely feel that there's strength and there's growth, but I don't know if that always relates to fitness,
Mm-hmm.
right? It relates to me being relatively fit, but I know my cardiovascular fitness and my HRV is not where I would like it to be. So I've been
Mm-hmm.
working on those types of items, and that's what I'm moving towards. So a
Mm-hmm.
couple of changes. I like you. I used to wear the whoop strap. I'm off the whoop strap now. I'm on the
Mm-hmm.
Aura ring. So
Okay. Yep.
I like it a lot better. Um, it's honestly it's not as complicated as the
Mm-hmm.
whoop strap. Okay, but um, I like the fact that I wasn't always feeling like I wear a watch a lot. I'm not wearing it today, but I wear a watch, and then I had the whoop strap, and then I like wearing bracelets.
Yeah.
You and your sister have given me a bracelet that has everybody's initials or names, etched into it. Sonia's given me a bracelet for our anniversary. I like wearing the bracelet, so that's kind of another reason why the whoop strap had came off
Mm-hmm.
is because I like to wear bracelets and stuff, and um, so that's been a lot better. I love the information I get back and the feedback that I get back from the Aura. I'm working on that 4 to 5 times a week of working out, but I'm going with a different fitness program. I picked out an app. I picked out a online one of these AI driven ones. I'm gonna try it out for three
Cool.
months, see how it goes because it's a different workout every single time, and it's
Mm-hmm.
it's taking information of the feedback from your workout that's tied to the Aura, that's putting it all together to set up the next workout. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's automatically getting you ready for the next one on the things that you're going to do versus like me trying to plan or get a personal trainer who may or may not really understand me to a
Right.
certain extent. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's taken into account. And there was actually one day where I got up early, I was ready to work out, and um, I open up my app and my app's like, oh, today's a rest day for you. Like you have
Mm-hmm.
done this, and this for such amount, this amount of days
Right.
continuously that today is a stretch and flex day,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
only. And so, where I got up and I'm ready to go and I was like, oh, I could have slept in for like another 45 minutes and just did a stretch and flex, but
Mm-hmm.
it is what it is. But fitness wise, I don't really like to put a goal on it, but of course, I want to lose 10 to 15 pounds, maybe 20 pounds. I think 10 would be a pretty good start for me
Mm-hmm.
because I do like being a little bit bigger. I like being a little bit more muscular, but I would love to lose like 10 to 15 pounds. And then the main thing, though, that I'm really trying to work on is being able to run 3 miles on the treadmill.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that's kind of easier than out on the pavement. My body from playing football for such a long time is really beat up, and
Mm-hmm.
so when I'm pounding the pavement, like it hurts, like it does
Mm-hmm.
hurt me. So versus the treadmill, I like running on the treadmill. So if I can get 3 miles in by June or something, which I don't think is a problem, and then be
Mm-hmm.
able to get up to 5 on the treadmill by the end of the year, that's really kind of my goal right now is
Mm-hmm.
like 3 to 5 miles on the treadmill. It's really going to help out with that HRV. It's really going to help out with, my sleeping, which has gotten a lot better over the last 4 or 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
That's gotten a lot better. It was really bad. Um, yeah, that's where I'm headed right now is
I have a
that.
question,
Sure.
and I don't know if it's as much as a question, more as a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at you right in your eyes, man to man.
Okay. I see you.
I challenge you to put a date on the calendar
Okay.
where you just said 3 miles. There it is. It's a 5K.
Okay.
By you pick a date in June. By a date in June, and it can be inside, it can be outside. I would challenge you to be outside because you've got 6 months to let your body adjust to, like you said, lose the weight, improve your cardiovascular fitness. I challenge you to a date in June to run a 5K. And I don't mean just you run it on your own. I mean, sign up for one.
Okay.
Somewhere around that area in June, pick a date, pick a 5K, and then commit to that one. Like I think what I found is really helpful is when you put something on the calendar, like we do with our golf, like we put action towards it, we see results because there's intent behind the actions that we're taking to get to our goal.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. So I challenge you to put something on the calendar where you're like, that's what I'm shooting for. And that's what I know I'm working towards. Because it keeps you in check and it keeps you honest with yourself and disciplined and things that we just we forget about if we don't have something on the calendar. So
challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. All right, cool. Good.
I'll do it. And
I was going to surprise you with that. I didn't want to tell you that there was something coming, but I was going to challenge you with that. And it's funny that you said 3 miles anyways. I was going to tell you 5K. Yeah. And you did it yourself. So
hey, all right. Challenge is accepted. So
it's going on my calendar too for you.
All right, dude. I'll figure out. I'll take a look at some of the 5Ks that are out there. I'll see what's coming up, and we'll go from there. And I'll
perfect.
I will do it. I'll do it.
Perfect.
And
all right.
It'll be outdoors too. I do need some help. It doesn't have to be talked about right now. I do need some help on shoes. From you. Yeah. Like, what do I need training wise for shoes, especially and then I don't know if it really it needs to turn into competition, but what could I really use training wise right now for shoes?
The long answer is really short. Go to a local running store, not Dick's, not, Big Five or anything like that. Like, go to a local running store. That's where they specialize. Tell them what you want to do. Tell them how often you're going to do it, and tell them what the end date is, and they'll give you the stuff. They'll measure your foot. They'll tell you what the appropriate daily trainer is and all of that stuff. It's worth it for sure.
Yeah. I just feel like right now I'm in those, the Nikes, and they're not the best shoes I know for either working out or for running.
They've got a good line.
They do, but not what I'm wearing.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And you can probably find some Nikes that would be real, that you'd like, but there's a lot of other brands. Like, I love New Balance, but I've always loved New Balance, and we visited, New Balances from Massachusetts. We went to Boston, all that stuff. So, not to go on a tangent, but yeah, go get fitted, and they'll hook you up with the right shoes.
Sounds good. All right, man, let's jump into a little bit of golf if that's cool.
Perfect. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Okay. So, what do you have coming up? Do you have any kind of golf goals at all coming up right now?
Yeah. So before I jump into the goals, I think so. I hadn't golfed quite so much at the end of the year. After our last podcast, work, like we said, everything kind of just happened all at once. But I played a handful of times, in the last several months, and especially in the last 2 months when I had started doing the different training stuff. I noticed usually when it's colder outside, the ball doesn't travel as far. My swing speed it felt fast, and the ball was traveling just as far as it was in the summer. Now, I don't know if that's because, it's just a good day, or if I honestly think the way I subjectively felt doing it, it was the training. It was the way I was lifting. It was all of the other things that go around it, and it felt really good. So I wanted to throw that out there because I think there are some of the things that I have going on in my current training that are directly reflected into golf. So that was a real positive for me. Now, going into the new year, I really want to focus on being in my best peak golf performance from mid-June to the end of August. I don't want to put so much pressure on, it has to be all the time. No, this is when our member guest tournament goes on. This is when the match play tournament goes on. And this is when the club championship at my club goes on. Those are the 3 big ones that I want to make sure that I'm gearing up towards being in my best possible shape for. So I think mentally for me, that'll do really well because it helps me train better. It helps me not put so much pressure on myself, and it helps me, understand that, like I said, there's something on the calendar that I'm working towards, and I'm slowly building to be in the best shape. And if it doesn't work out, the ball doesn't roll the way I need it to, it is what it is. But at least I put myself in the best position possible, right?
Correct. And that kind of leads into a couple of my goals. Like you're
Yeah.
talking about with the fitness side of things,
Mm-hmm.
golf wise. So I have written down that on one of them is 4 rounds, is a note that I've got for myself. And that is to be physically fit enough to be able to play 4 rounds in a row. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason why I say that is because we have the member guest golf tournament that I'll fly
Mm-hmm.
out for and we'll play together. And that's about 3.5 rounds that we'll usually play when you put everything together. That'll be 4 rounds. My buddies, we've been talking about a couple of golf trips that we wanted to go on. That's probably going to be 3 to 4 rounds,
Mm-hmm.
probably 3 rounds. You know, we talked about going to Arizona and playing with our family and stuff, you know, here at some point. That's probably going to be at least 3 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
So I say 4 rounds because I want to get through 3 rounds and still be fresh.
Yeah.
Right. And so that goes back a little bit back to the fitness side of things. And that's my goal, is to be fit for golf enough to be able to play 4 rounds. So if that fourth round does come around, I'm not having to drag myself out of bed. I'm ready. I'm up and ready to go. Because every time I go into my backyard, which I have a golf course in my backyard, like I want to get back out there again.
Right.
But some days I'm kind of like, you know, I'm tired. My body's feeling a little beat up. I don't want to work out that day, yada, 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 you know, and I want to get past that. I want to, that's a little bit of a barrier for me right now that I need to get past, is that active recovery on the day after, being able to do that. So I've got that. You know, I'm trying to play 40 to 50 rounds this year. That's basically averaging around a month or around a week, if possible.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of a goal.
I saw your video this morning.
Oh, you did?
Number one, you did really well on that video. That was
hey, thanks,
that
man.
was really cool. I like the captions. I like that you were talking and then there was a shot and you were talking. There's really, really well done. I forgot to tell you that at the beginning. That was a good job. But that's a big goal. And I think you'll definitely get there. When you have something on the calendar, like we just talked about the 5K, that's something that you're going to be working towards. I think all of the other actions surrounding that will only help you get to that point as well with the golf stuff. So 40 to 50 rounds, 4 rounds in a row would be really ideal. Do you have anything else on there?
I'm trying to play 5 to 10 competitive rounds. Now, the member guest is included in that.
Okay.
So that's going to be roughly 3 rounds. Trying to get into these SCGA one-day tournaments and do 4 or 5 of those, and then figure out if there's a couple other rounds or things that I can play in after that. And it might, even when we're talking about competitive rounds, we don't get too crazy, but you know, we've got the alumni tournament and that comes up every single year, and we want to go out there and kick ass, you know, my buddies and I from high school. And then we get about 4 or 5 holes in and we're just like, yeah, we're not going to win. So we're just like, whatever. I don't want to be in that mode. Like, I want it to be that when we get to that in May, that I'm ready to go. Like, I'm bringing my game. And even my buddy Matt, he said it to me. We played the first round of 2025. My boy Matt went out and played with me. I shot 80. And when we were kind of going around, Matt says to me, hey, in the alumni tournament, I need that like 77, 78 Gabe to show up, you know?
Right.
And I'm like, you're right. And that leads into this next little goal that I've got, is my buddies, like being better when I'm playing against my buddies. And it was something I talked about. Like, I remember it's something I've talked about like last year, and I know that I'm better than them overall to a certain extent, but whenever I play against them, I freaking shit the bed. You know, I hate saying that, but that's what happens. You know, I really crap the bed when it happens. And so I've got to figure out that mental block, and that's a big goal for me. And maybe somebody listening to the podcast can help give me some pointers on that. My personal pointers that go along with that is like defining that success on that round. Of course, there is some score driven success that would be a part of that, but it's really more like having concentration and not losing concentration. And when I say that, you and I have talked about it, we pick out 4 holes in the front 9 and 4 holes on the back 9, and making sure
Mm-hmm.
that I'm committed on those 4 holes all the way through mentally. So
Mm-hmm.
that'd give me 8 holes. And then one of the other things that I was kind of thinking about as maybe a goal, I've got to see that, I mean, I'd be totally wasted by the end, but is making sure on every single hole that I have full concentration on at least one shot within every
Mm-hmm.
hole. So that's 18. That's only 18 strokes that I need to be fully committed. That, you know, my head's where it needs to be. There's no sway. My follow through is there. My hip is open. My belt's pointed at the target. You know, all of those types of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And can I do that 18 times at least? You know, in a round.
You know, and I just said something about how, no more self-help books.
Yeah.
There was a book that I read, the last one that I read that fit that criteria. It's called I think it's called How to Break Free from Suckville by Dr. Brett McCabe. He helps a lot of professional athletes, a lot of golfers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that'd be a really good book for you to read because it talks about exactly what you're talking about. There's this pressure that you put on yourself in these moments, like with your friends or in these alumni tournaments. And at the end of the day, easier said than done, but it's really not that serious.
Yeah.
And it's really these what you define as success probably is incorrect. At least I found that for myself that,
Sure.
just because I don't win, that doesn't mean it wasn't successful. I've been golfing for how long? Why would I expect it, right? And it's all about expectations. It's all about how you talk to yourself. And I think that'd be a really good book for you because you can really apply it to what you're talking about. So I'll send that to you when we're done.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah, send that on over to me. But
mm-hmm,
other than that, that's really my golf goals
mm-hmm.
of what I've got. I'm trying to look. I did write some notes down. That's why I keep looking away just a
And
little bit.
I got one or two right here that I was
Sure,
going
go
to talk
for it.
about. So I was not when we were initially planning and talking about this. I wrote down some stuff and I didn't want to do it, but I'm going to.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm around a 13. I hover between a 13 and a 14 handicap. So I've come down from 16, 17 to 13, 14, which is pretty good over the last 18-ish months.
Yeah.
And this year, I want to get to somewhere between 10 and 12. I would like to hover in there. And I think it's doable. I've noticed some really big jumps in performance because a lot of it's going to come off the tee.
Mm-hmm.
If I can not go OB with the driver off the tee, I'll be in really good shape. So that's one. Number two is to stay committed to doing 1 to 2 days a week of chipping, just for 30 minutes. That's all it is. Just working on the craft, working on some different shots, some different lies. It doesn't have to be perfect. I don't have to be out there for 2 hours. Just 1 to 2 days a week of chipping, and then at least 1 day a week of work at the driving range. So
Okay.
that is my plan. This year is to get to that 10 to 12. If I'm in the 12.5, man, I'll take it. If I'm sub 13, I'll take it. But that's really my goal because I know that it's been getting better and better as time goes on. And once you get below where you're at, where it's that 7 to 8 range, then it gets really hard.
Yeah.
And it turns into a lot, making more putts, a lot more greens in regulation, not thinning chips across the green. So
Yeah.
it's things that just kind of, it gets harder the lower you get. So that's what I'm working on. And I plan on starting to do a lot more of these things around mid-March.
Okay.
That's my goal. I'm gonna start swinging a club around mid-March.
Okay. Good. 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 Yeah. Um, I've been hovering now. I did about a year ago, 2 years ago. The lowest I ever got was into a high 6, 6, 7.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like, even when I got there, I don't feel like I play as good as I play now.
Mm-hmm.
I was not as good of a player then as I am now. I think a lot of it has to do with me, a lot more like understanding my swing. And when I make a mistake, like I can make an adjustment for the most part. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't actually come right away, but I can think through it and try to figure out, okay, what was the adjustment that I need to make? And, but it's consistency. And so even when I have a blow up round or I have a bad round, it doesn't really affect my handicap overall.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have written down that I want to maybe get to a 5, and that's a lofty goal. I mean, that's
Hmm.
taking 3 strokes, 3 strokes off, which is difficult. I think,
Yeah.
and people think like especially when, getting from like a 12 down into a single digit, like once you make it to that 12, you'll be
Hmm.
okay. And usually like getting to that 12, it's going to be a little bit more like you're talking about. Some course management is probably going to be there. Some chipping is going to be
Hmm.
there, and not 3 and 4 putting a little bit and
Yep.
figuring that out. That's going to help you out a lot. So I don't usually have like a lot of those problems
Hmm.
overall. So how do I get from 7, 8 down to a solid 5?
Hmm.
Where is that going to come from? I think I think its distance is going to be helpful. I'm not so much in long irons on the second shot. That's going to
Mm.
be one that'll be helpful. But after that, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I got
Yeah.
to talk to somebody and ask, like, what's the next step? Because I play course management already.
Hmm.
I play conservative for the most part.
Hmm.
I played in a money game. What was it the other day? And end up winning a little over $100, but I played in a money game and I went conservative just to hold on, right? I mean, just
Hmm.
to stay where I was at, and gave up some strokes just to stay. And I probably shouldn't do that, but I wanted, I wanted
Yeah.
that cash, right? And so,
Yeah. And as we're talking through it, I think
mhm,
you're good enough at golf to where you can definitely take more risks than you do.
yeah,
And the reason why you're as good at golf as because you're able to manage the course in a way that fits you. I think one of the things it might be where you take a step back to take a step forward is you need to choose holes that you're going to go get. Like, I'm
yeah,
going to go attack a birdie here. I'm attacking it. And if it doesn't work out and I end up bogeying or double bogeying, okay. But at least I'm getting myself more comfortable with being the attacker on certain points, as opposed to like, I'm just going to try to, make a perfect shot to stay where I am or to get a little bit better. So maybe it's maybe it's one hole in the front nine, one hole in the back nine. It doesn't even need to be 3 shots right away. It's just like, hey, I'm going to go get it this hole, and then the other holes, you're like, all right, back to my plan. I know this hole doesn't really fit my mold to really attack it, but this one does. So
yeah.
maybe that's it. Maybe you got to take a step back to take those 3 steps forward. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Kiddo, you always have like the right thing to say. I don't know, man. And I say that because it was, I played the other day. I was talking about that money game,
Mm-hmm.
and I tore up the back nine, like over there. And that's what got me. I shot 84. I think it was 84. And it wasn't a great front nine. And I kept trying to control the ball, and I was like, it was a
Mm-hmm.
tight, I played a private country club. It was an older club, of course. So then the fairways get much tighter, and there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of big trees everywhere. And so I wasn't loose when
Mm-hmm.
I was out there playing, and I kept trying to control the ball off the tee versus
Mm-hmm.
like just hit it. And then we got to the back nine, and I was kind of like, all right, man, I got to let it go,
Yeah.
And so I stepped up on, I think it might have been hole 9, and it was pretty straightforward. And I thought it was much further, but I end up hitting a 302-yard drive, and
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was much further away, but I almost drove the green,
Mm-hmm.
and it just looked farther away because I was just like, I just got to let it rip,
Yeah.
and all the shots that I was trying to control, it's a little bit of a fade or a little bit of a pull, and I'm just like, and they weren't horrible second shots, but they weren't ideal either,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
so it just, I wasn't putting myself in prime position to
Mm-hmm.
score. I was in prime position to protect. And I think that's the big difference right now. And maybe that's a new goal. And I need to reflect on that, is being in that mindset to score and not in the mindset to protect.
I think there's a time and place for both. You
Yeah.
want to win money, man, go protect.
Yeah. That's
You
what
know
I
what I
did the
mean?
last 2 holes.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But I also at the same time there's a funny line that you can cross there. We talked about it when we did the member guest, is we would
Hmm.
put too much pressure on it instead of, and reflect. Remember, we had a pretty decent day and we were set up to have one more really good day,
Yeah.
and we just we both made mistakes because we both were trying to do too much and putting too much pressure on this specific shot instead of saying, hey, this is what you're good at on this hole. This is what I know I'm good at on this hole. Let's do this here and let's do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so much thought that goes in. It's hard to think about it in the moment when you're just playing and you're grooving and so many thoughts going through your head. But
yeah,
I know what you mean. And
then you have a par 5 and
you get at like a, what was it, an 8, 9
or something, 8 or 9, and you hit one out of bounds, and I hit one out of bounds, and
it just ruins your day. You're just like, not even ruins you. You're just like, man,
we are within 2 shots of taking the lead. All right, we're not gonna let that happen again.
No,
and we're never gonna say I'm sorry to each other.
No,
that, right?
Never.
Yep, never.
Nope.
All right, dude. Well, I think we should wrap it up there. Season 3, episode 1.
Yeah, season 3, episode 1 in the books.
Yeah.
So I think we're really looking forward to, like we've talked about with each other, is this, we love golf and we love to talk about golf, but I also think this is an opportunity to talk about things that we also care about, which is like our fitness, different workouts that we're doing, different nutrition things that we're eating, which I think we can dive in a little bit deeper later on. But we want to talk about everything that kind of revolves around what we do because we like to play golf and we're putting ourselves in a position to play golf with all of these other things around it. So a lot more of that stuff going on. Definitely try to get some more guests on this season, both golf related and, fitness or nutrition related as well. I think it'll be really cool for people to kind of get all these different angles that go into this show.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's stuff that we're both passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I of course, like I would love to be more fit, but I love working out. I still, if I didn't love working out, I wouldn't be either in the gym or at the home gym working out 4 to 5 days a week.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just, but how do we get better? And I think people are going to love to hear about that as well. I do have my 4 Wellness in my coffee right now. I don't know if a lot of people know about that. It is owned by Phil Mickelson. Golf related.
Oh, that's it. I remember that. Yeah.
Yes. And I have tried the hydration gummies. All that stuff is really, really good, but I'm on the monthly subscription for the 4 Wellness. I put it in my coffee every single morning. I don't wake up as achy, has some collagen, has like all the good stuff that you really need, and mix it in the morning, and I feel fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I think we've got some good stuff coming up here pretty soon, and what we're going to talk about a lot of things, and like you just said, there's some different things that you're doing that make you feel better, so we're going to do it all.
All right, dude. Where can they catch you over on social media?
On Instagram, you can find me at gblockjacobo. My daily things that I do, whether it's on my stories or in my Instagram reels, on my fitness, everything's all there.
For me, you can find me on Instagram at CaliLobo45. You can find me at gabe.calilobo on TikTok. And then our Instagram together and TikTok is at Fairway Conversations. And that's where you can find us.
Yep. We're going to get some content out there here pretty soon. We're going to start taking some videos like you've already done today. So a lot more of that coming up here in 2025 as well.
Sounds good. All right, dude. We'll talk to you soon. See ya.